Morning. Hope you're doing well today. Wanted to spend a few brief minutes talking about, I guess, the difference between exploring outward and exploring inward. This weekend I watched a movie whose name now I cannot remember. Exploring the Boundaries or something. It's about a guy who goes to Mars. And I guess Mars is our generation's trip to the moon. As far as, the trip going to the moon was supposed to be a big deal for humanity back in the 60s because it was so far out of reach and it was the big dream. Joseph Campbell, whose book Hero with a Thousand Faces, is it? That was the book that Steven Spielberg used as the basis of the Star Wars films. Anyway, Joseph Campbell says, we operate under Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but over and above Maslow's hierarchy of needs is what he called myth, madness, and meaning. In other words, the hierarchy of needs is great, and if you fulfill all 5 of those, you'll have a very nice life. But to have what we might call an epic life, you have to go beyond self-actualization, which is the top of Maslow's hierarchy, and pursue things that seem contrary to that very hierarchy. So things that require personal sacrifice, things that don't seem to make any sense but that have to be done anyway, like going to the moon. Going to the moon didn't really benefit us in a tangible way, but it became like the dream of the culture, the dream of the planet, that we get to the moon, so we did. Alright, so the Mars seems to be this generation's moon trip on some level. But what I wanted you to think about is that, as Terence McKenna says, and Terence McKenna he died in the 90s, he did a lot of experimentation, scientific experimentation and personal experimentation with psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms. He did some LSD, a lot of psychedelics, and he wrote a number of books about his experiences. And he often talked about the fact that he didn't understand, or he was concerned that we were, as a culture, so concerned with exploring outward. In other words, with the moon, or launching the Voyager spacecraft, or now going to Mars, that we were all but ignoring the inward journey, which is obviously by far the more important one, because, as Zig Ziglar says, no matter where you go, there you are. So we can go to the moon, we can go to Mars, we can leave the solar system someday, who knows, faster than light travel, whatever you want. And no matter where we go, that's where we'll be. And everything we see and everything we encounter, and if we ever met intelligent life from another planet, we would encounter them as we are now. So it doesn't matter where we go, it doesn't matter what we see, it's still going to be us. And if we're not happy the way we are now with what we have now, we're not going to be happy discovering alien life or going to Mars or anything else. And it is a little concerning that we spend so much energy looking outward, and it's almost like we're looking outward so we don't have to look inward. Right? Doesn't it kind of seem that way? So, here's the encouragement for today. Here is my advice for you today. Take it or leave it. I would say that it is okay if you don't care about going to Mars. If the rest of society around you seems to be really, really excited about going there, and it's the next big thing, it's the next dream, humanity has to get there, it's going to do so much for us, it's not going to do anything for us. And it's okay if you agree. It's okay if you agree that it's just a cold, red planet that at the time, as far as we know, doesn't have any life on it, and that when we get there, it'll just be us. More of the same. So it's okay to not get super excited about that. Because I think we're force-fed into, we're supposed to believe that it's going to be a big deal. And if you don't think it's a big deal, that's wrong-headed somehow. It's okay if you don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. I think we're going to be super disappointed when we get to Mars and realize that it's still just us, and getting to Mars didn't solve any of our problems. All it did was temporarily distract us from our problems, like the 2016 presidential election, or television, or Facebook. Basically, Mars is like us scrolling through the solar system's Facebooks, and oh yeah, let's click on that status, and then yeah, now we're going to go there. And then my advice, as always, if you have, well, not if you have, make 20 minutes of time in your day to sit and stare at a wall or to sit in the dark. It will do you more good than you can imagine. This is it. This is it. Ram Dass used to say, this is it. If this isn't it, there isn't any. I think people think that by going to Mars, that journey will somehow existentially change our lives, or change our humanity, or change our view of the world. But our view of the world doesn't come from the outside. Our view of the world, how we see the world, how we interact with the world, comes from in here and in here. The only reason we want to go to Mars is because we're bored with Earth. And we're bored with Earth because we're seeing it like grown-ups. We're not seeing it like children. We think we know all there is to know about this planet, so we're bored, and now we're going to go find another one. And eventually we'll get bored with that one, because nothing is changing here. So, it's okay if you don't care about Mars, or any of the other crazy stuff that people care about. And meditate. Actually, don't meditate because you think meditation is the thing that you're supposed to do. Just sit and stare at a wall. Or sit in the dark. Okay. Awesome. Have a great day. You are awesome. Talk to you later.